Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Python scripting tutorial. So today we're going to be creating a new add-on, something that hopefully will help speed up our workflow when working with Mist. So normally to add Mist to our scene, we go to the View Layer Properties tab, which is over here. And if we just open up this section here, then go to Data, and we can then activate the Mist pass. So now if we split this window, change this to the Compositor, and then when we use nodes, we'll see we have this Mist pass here. So when we render it, we can use the Mist pass. So that's just the first step. The next thing we like to do is select the camera, go to the Camera Properties tab, and go all the way down to Viewport Display, and then just activate Mist. And now we can see the distance of the mist, the start and the end of this Mist pass. Next we go to the World Properties tab, then down to the Mist pass, and here we can control this, so we can bring the start point closer, move the end point, and if you want you can change the fall off type. Then once you've set your scene up, we need to then go into the Compositor and add a few nodes, and there we go. So you can see it's quite a lot of steps to add the mist to your renders, so I thought it'd be a good idea to take out the hassle and speed up the workflow. So the idea is to create a panel with an operator, which when pressed it will activate this and also create the nodes in the Compositor for us. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Let's go back to File and open up a new project. So go ahead and open up your scripting workspace. I'm going to go over here and change this to the scripting. Then I'm just going to go through here and tidy a few things up. We're going to be using this panel, so I'm going to just minimize it a little bit for now. We'll come back to this in a second. Then I'm going to change this to the Compositor. So for this, we're going to need an operator and a panel. It's pretty simple. You can go to Templates, go to Python, scroll through here and find UI Panel Simple. Then load this script up if you want, and then go ahead and add in an operator as well. But instead of that, I'm going to go ahead and load up a script that I've already created. So this is the script I'm going to be working with. As I mentioned, it's just a panel with a button and an operator which by default does nothing. And if you want to follow along, there will be a link in our description so you can download this template script. So I guess the first thing we can do is go ahead and rename this. We're going to give this an add-on name. I think Insta-Mist would be a good name. Maybe you guys can let me know in your comments what you think of the name. Then the label, let's get rid of this. Then we can change the ID name. Then I'm just going to change the category. Then let's go to the operator, do the same thing. And now since we've changed this ID name, we need to make sure we update this button here. So select all of this, copy it, go in here and paste it. And then the last thing we need to do is go to the register and update these since we've changed the names. So just select this one and copy it. Go down here and paste it. Copy this one and paste it. So we have a panel and an operator. Let's go ahead and run this script and see what it looks like. So go over here and hit run script. Then in the 3D view, I'm going to press N. Go down to our newly created tab and we have this button which does nothing since we don't have anything in the execute. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's open this panel up. So let's go to the View Layer Property tab. So when the button is pressed, we want this to be activated. So we click this now and we can see down here this is the code. So I'm going to select this, copy it, go into the execution and just paste this in. So we can get rid of bpy dot, get rid of that. So now if we go over here, hit run script, let's turn this back off. So when this button is pressed, this should now activate, which it does. So now we can go to the camera, go to the camera tab, go down to Viewport Display. And then again, we want to activate this just so we can see the code. Select this, copy it. Let's go to the end here and then hit enter. Now for some reason it's not indented, so I'm just going to indent this by pressing tab. Now we can see we're in the same line. Control V, paste this in, and again we don't need bpy dot, so let's get rid of that. So now let's check this. I'm going to run this script, turn this back off, and when we press this button, it should now activate. So now that works, but we will have a problem. Let's turn this back off. Let's assume that the user doesn't have the camera selected and try again. So now we can see we get an error message and it says attribute error, mesh object has no attribute, show mist. And of course only cameras have that option. So we just need to make a few changes so it works without having the camera selected. Let's create a couple of references. So first I'm going to type scene equals context dot scene. So now this down here, we can get rid of context.scene. We can just use the reference scene. Now back up here, I'm going to make a reference to the camera. So I'm going to call this camera equals bpy.data.cameras, then open and close square brackets, then within here I'm going to type apostrophe twice, and then in between here I'm going to type the name of the camera that we want to use. So this would be camera with a capital C. But now we've created a reference to the camera, anytime we want to change anything we can just reference the camera. So let's get rid of context.object.data, we don't need this anymore. And then we're just going to replace this with our new reference camera. So now if we hit run script just to update everything, then if we select the cube and then press the button, now we can see it adds the mist. So now this button enables it. Let's change this name. Now what we could do real quick is when the button is pressed the second time we could actually turn it back off. So let's change this to enable/disable, or turn it on and off. You could name this whatever you want, but to do that it's pretty simple. I'm going to go here. So we're going to create an if statement. We're going to say if scene.view_layers viewLayer use_pass_mist is equal to false, then go ahead and turn it on. Instead of typing out all this again, I'm going to create another convenience variable. So I'm going to call this VL for view layers, but you can call this whatever you want. So VL equals, so I'm going to go over here and copy all of this, copy it and then delete it, go over here, paste this in. So now just like before, anytime we want to talk about the view layer, we can just type VL. So go back to the beginning here, type VL, and if you want you can go ahead and test it. So I'm going to turn this back off, run the script, then enable it, and we can see it works fine, there's no errors, and that's good. So I'm going to say if VL.use_pass_mist, and then here we need to say is equal to, so that's two equal signs, is equal to false, then make sure we add a colon, and if we go down here just indent these now. So if the view layer mist pass is false, then go ahead and turn it on. Then if we hit enter a couple of times, then I'm going to press the left arrow on the keyboard just to move over one place so we're in the same line as this if statement. And then here we can just kind of reverse it, so we can say elif, so we can go back here and copy this. So elif VL.use_pass_mist is equal to true, and then go ahead and select these two here, go to the end, hit enter, make sure you press the tab key just to indent it, then Control V, paste this in, and make sure we change these to false. And there we go. So now if we hit run script, when we press this button it should now disable it. Make sure we select something other than the camera and make sure it still works, which it does. So one more thing we need to do before we can move on to the compositor, and that is to add some options to this mist panel. We want to be able to set the start and end of this mist pass. So let's go back to the world properties here, go to the mist pass tab, and we want to take these options and put them onto our panel. So let's go back up to our panel. We need to create a couple of references. So first I'm going to type scene equals context.scene, type world equals scene.world.mist_settings. So now we have this, we can add some props to our panel, and you can do that as we normally would. So type layout.prop, open and close parentheses, then in here world, then add a comma, then quotation twice. So we go over to the start here and just hit enter. So we can see here it says bpy.context.scene.world.mist_settings. So again, we took care of that here. And then the name of the prop that we want to add is start. So that's all we need to add here. Type start. Then if we hit run script, update this. And again, if you want to add the others, we can just copy and paste this. Paste this here. Change this to depth. And also if you want to use the fall off, hit run script, and there we go. So now we can change the start and end point of this. Also change the fall off type, and we can also turn it on and off. So if I'm going to go back to our operator down here. So normally we need to check use nodes when we're working on the compositor. So we need to do that in code. So click this and we see down here what it says. So again, we can copy this, go back down here. We can say after it's turned everything on, hit enter, and then paste this in, get rid of bpy.context. We can just use scene.useNodes. So this will turn it on, but what we could do actually is add another if statement within here, because again the user might already have useNodes activated. So let's go ahead and do that. So we need to type if scene.use_nodes is equal to false. Make sure we add a colon. So if scene.use_nodes is equal to false, go ahead and turn it on. Again, make sure we indent this. So now we can move on to the compositor action. So I'm going to go back to the top. So I'm going to click outside here. Then I'm going to type def mist_comp for compositor _action, or you can call this whatever you want. Open and close parentheses, add a colon. Then in between here, I'm just going to type context. Then go to the end, hit enter, and then we can type return. Then open and close brace. Then inside here, I'm going to hit apostrophe twice. Then in between here, in capitals, I'm going to type finished. So now anything we enter in between here will be executed. So first let's create a reference to the node tree, since we're working within the node tree. So let's type tree equals context dot scene dot node underscore tree. So now anytime we want to talk about or use this node tree, we can just refer to it as tree. So use nodes is already going to be active, and we'll have two nodes to work with. We've got this render layer node and the composite node. Let's just make a bit of space up here. So we want to use these two nodes, we want to move them out of the way and do things with them. So let's go ahead and make some references. Let's first reference this compositor node. So I'm going to say comp underscore node equals tree.nodes.get, open and close parentheses. Then within here, I'm going to hit apostrophe twice. And then within here, just type the name of the node that you want to get. So if you're not sure of any of the names, just select the node, then press N, and then go up to item here. It will tell you the name of the node. So make sure you just type out the name exactly how it appears here. So now we've referenced the compositor node, we've called it comp underscore node. We can change any of the properties or even the location. So I'm going to do that now. And type comp underscore node dot location equals open and close parentheses, and then within here we can just type a set of values. So for this I'm going to say 700, 0, and what that should do is just move this over here like this. Now let's do the same thing for the render layer. So now we've created a reference to these two nodes and we've moved them into the position that we want. Let's go ahead and add some nodes. So the first one I'm going to add is a mix node. Mix underscore node equals, we say tree dot nodes dot new. So instead of get or remove, we'll add in a new one. Then open and close parentheses. Then in here, apostrophe twice, and then type the name of the node that you want to add. So in this example, this is going to be a compositor node mix RGB. And again, if you're not sure of the names, just Shift A, hover over one of these, and it should tell you. Or if you want to add it in, it'll tell you down here what the name of it is. Now this mix node has been added. Let's go ahead and set the location. So mix underscore node dot location equals open and close parentheses, and then here I'm just going to say 500, 0. So it should be around here somewhere. And to help you follow along, I'm going to just add these nodes in here. So Shift A, go to color, go to mix, and this will be added around here. Now as we saw at the beginning of the video, we do need to change some of these settings, so we can do this here now. So mix underscore node dot blend underscore type equals apostrophe twice, and then in here I'm going to, in capitals, I'm going to type add. Since that's the name of the blend mode I want to change this to. Again, to find out which options you want to change, just change one of the options and it'll tell you how to do it down here. And the last thing I want to do is clamp these values. So let's copy this, paste this in here, dot use underscore clamp equals true. So now we have this one, let's copy it and add another one. Select all this, Control C, paste this in, and since we've copied this, we need to change this reference now to mix 2. Need to do the same thing for all of these here. And the next thing we can do is change the location. So just imagine we've duplicated this and we want to move it over here a little bit. So instead of 500, we can say maybe, then for the blend type, we want to change this to multiply. Now we just need to add one more node, which is the color ramp node. Then if we create a reference name, so I'm going to call it CR underscore node. So color ramp underscore node equals, normally we look at this and it says compositor node mix RGB for the mix node. That sounds fine. But for the color ramp, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to type compositor node val 2 RGB. And again, let's change the location. So I'm going to select this, copy it, cr underscore node dot location equals, open and close parentheses. And for this one, again, we're going to move it over here a little bit. So let's say 100, 0. Let's go ahead and add this in just so we can see what we're doing. Go to converter, add a color ramp node, which is around here. Drop this in. We might need to move this render layer back a bit. So now, just as we did with the other nodes, we're going to define some of the settings here. So let's do the same thing. Control V. So cr underscore node dot color underscore ramp dot elements, open and close square brackets. Then here we can enter an indexed number. So I'm going to press 0. Since I want to change this black value to something different. Dot color equals, open and close parentheses. And then here we can enter a number. So I want this to be a little bit grey. 0.2, comma, 0.2, comma, 0.2. And then comma again, and this, we want the alpha to be 1. So now what that's done is change this color to be a little bit grey, something like that. And then the last thing I want to do to this node is add another handle, so something like this. So it's pretty simple, we just type the reference name again. Again, we also want this dot color underscore ramp dot elements, so I'm going to copy this, paste this here, dot new, open and close parentheses. So position equals, and then we can just type a number. So we want this position to be somewhere around here. So I'm going to say 0.27. The last thing we need to do is connect all of these up. So that's pretty simple. Again, I'm going to create a convenience variable. So I'm going to call this link tree.links.new. So now when we want to create a link between these nodes, we just need to type link, open and close parentheses, and then just type the two references and their index numbers. So we know the reference is mix underscore node. Now we want to take the output, so mix underscore node dot outputs. Since each node has inputs or outputs, depending on what you want to use. Then open and close square brackets. Now the way Python works, by default, the first one is going to be 0, index number 0. So that's index number 0. Then after the close bracket, I'm going to add a comma, and then just add the name and input of the next node. So that's the composite comp underscore node dot inputs, open and close square brackets, and add the index number 0. So now we should have this, and we just want to do the same thing now for all the other nodes. It's the same process. We're just going to copy this. I'll show you one more time. Let's go to the end, paste this in, and then just change the names and the index numbers of the nodes. So let's say this mix2 underscore node dot outputs 0. We want this to go to the first mix node. So let's change this. Mix underscore node dot inputs. Now we don't want this to go into the factor. We want this to go into the first image slot. So I'm going to plug it in like this. So that will be index number 1. And now we should have something like this. So I'm just going to go through here and add the rest of the connections and speed through this. Okay, so now we have all our links done. Go back to the top. We want to call this when the button is pressed. So I'm going to copy this name here. Control C. Let's go back down to the operator. Once the use nodes has been turned on, in fact, let's hit enter. And if we press left on the keyboard, just move this over one space and then paste this in. We can then open and close parentheses, and then within here, I'm just going to type context. So now we can test this. I'm just going to get rid of these here. Just get rid of these nodes that we added in. Delete them. Move these back over. Then let's hit run script. Make sure we don't get any errors. So we can see right now it's already enabled. So if we press this, it should just turn this off. We can also see that it's removed the mist pass here. So now once we press this again, it should add the nodes that we want. And we can see it does. I mean, the spacing is a little bit off. We might need to move this render layers over a little bit, and also this color ramp. So also make sure that everything's connected up as it should be, and all the options have been changed and adjusted the way we want. So now it's added the nodes. When we press this button, it disables the mist pass, which is good, but it still has these nodes hanging about, which is not good, because when we press this button again, it connects everything back up with these new nodes, but these nodes down here are actually now useless. So let's go ahead and fix that. Let's get rid of all these for now. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get rid of the nodes when we press that button. It's pretty simple. Let's go back down to the operator. So this section is when we turn it on, and this is where we turn it off. So I'm going to go down here, hit enter. Now we just need to create some references to the nodes that we added in. So the first is the mix node. So let's say mix 1 equals tree dot nodes dot remove, open and close parentheses, and then in here we're going to say tree dot nodes dot get, and then again open and close parentheses, and then within here we just type the name of the node that we want to get. So apostrophe twice. This is the mix node. Now since we're referring to this node tree, we do need to reference it up here. We can see we haven't referenced it up here. Let's go ahead and create a reference to the tree. Tree equals scene dot node underscore tree. Now we can use this reference down here. I want to do the same thing for the next one. Mix 2 equals, so I'm going to change this. The second one would be renamed to mix.001. And then finally the color ramp. If we just add these in again, if we click this color ramp node, press N, we can see it's actually called just a color ramp. So that's what we need to type in here. If we hit run script, make sure we don't get any errors. Then enable it if you haven't already. And then if we press disable, it gets rid of the nodes. So it adds them in, gets rid of them. Do that as many times as you want, make sure it works. One problem is once we disable it, we just want to make sure that these are connected, which again is pretty simple. We just need to create a reference to these two nodes and then just link them as we did before. Hit run script and try this out. So now if you want to save this out and import it as an add-on, you would need to add some BL information up here. And the quickest way to do that is to go ahead and open up a template. So template, Python, add-on, add object. Go ahead and select this. Then here from this BL information all the way down to this brace, go ahead and copy this. Now we don't need this script anymore, so go ahead and get rid of it. And then go ahead and paste the information up here. Then go through and change the information. And then once you've done this, make sure you rename this to whatever you want. Make sure you save this as a .py. Then if you go to text, save this. And now if you guys want to download this, there will be a link in the description. You want to download this script. But yeah, hopefully you find this tool helpful. Hopefully you found this video helpful as well. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.